Hey guys, this is Sharina from Sassy Seamstress, and this is a tutorial on how to make bullhorns. I'm actually doing a cross-gender costume of Darkness from the movie Legend with Tim Curry. And if you haven't seen already, I've done a tutorial on how to make hoof shoes, and this is a section for the horns. I'm used to doing a lot of sewing, costumes, things like that, but this is definitely a different medium for me, and so this is kind of me documenting my experience making this. And anyway, I've had to do a lot of research on what materials to actually use for the horns. Darkness's horns are really big. They actually start out about here and kind of go up and out. And because I decided not to do a prosthetic headpiece, it seemed a little bit more than what I wanted to deal with this time around. So I had to go with something a little bit smaller, but they're still pretty big, so I needed the horns to be light. I've decided to go with expanding foam. And the first part of this is really just showing me using the expanding foam and sculpting it into the horns. So here we go. So this is the foam horn that I've made and sculpted already. It took about I'd say about 5 hours for it to actually dry before I was able to carve it. Now this is just aluminum foil, but I guess you could probably use the wax baking sheets, but this is what I had and I didn't really want to go buy more, so there you go. So I took some marker and just kind of drew out the outline of the horn from the one before, just to kind of give me a rough outline. This is the craft foam that I got at Lowe's. It was actually really, really cheap, especially in comparison to the foam that you get at like a craft store like Michael's. Like for one single cone it was about like $8, which is way more expensive, so this is a much better deal. So anyways, just take off the cap. Comes with this little dealy guy and you just screw it on and spray on the foam. As you can see, it expands a little bit as you're going, but it definitely blows up a lot bigger, so don't worry too much about the size. It'll definitely get bigger. So this is the dried foam. It takes a long time to dry, and if you want, you can probably actually spray water on it to make it go a little bit faster, but here's the sculpted side I already started, and I just placed the first horn over it to get an idea of the shape I was going for, and I'm using a X-Acto knife to carve it out. There are other tools you can use. This is just what I happen to have on hand. There's actually probably way better sculpting tools out there, but this was also like $1.50, so I went with that. Just take your time, obviously be careful, cut away from yourself, and just work your way through it. So this is just paper mache, one part glue, one part water, and I just kind of worked my way around. I used really small pieces to try and get the tip. It's kind of difficult, so just be patient and work your way through and let them dry. This is the fast mache that I did, and it's a little lumpy, but it'll sand down once it's done drying. So I already started with the one side because it kind of takes a little bit of time to work through. But this is pretty even. I think it was 32 ounces of water for a pound of this cellular clay stuff that I got at Michael's. So I just kind of fractioned out the portions, ratioed out the portions to be for about half a pound of the Mache, which was plenty. I ended up throwing out quite a bit, actually. As I was doing it, I used water just to kind of smooth out parts of it, and I tried to make sure I got a pretty good coat on it. That way, when I sand it down, I'm not going to run into the paper mache underneath. So this is the painted horn that I did already. It's just black and red acrylic paint with a little bit of white for some accent points, and it's pretty much dry. So I started with the red base underneath because it's a lot harder to paint the red over the black if you've never done that before. So I decided actually just to fade the black into the red to try and get that kind of blended look. As I went through, it's not perfect, but most of that is actually going to end up getting covered with my wig. So I wasn't too worried about it. This was just some black streaks I decided to put in towards kind of blending it through. You actually see that with natural horns. And this is just some highlighting on around the edge of it, and then also just around the general horn. After this, I just used a satin finish and then let it dry. Alright, so these are actually just aluminum wiring that I folded up and then actually did a spiral on the bottom with some felt, and this will be what the horns actually sit into or onto, and I attached both of these to just a plain headband that I got for like $1, and they'll sit on the sides. You want to actually put it on so that you can place where you want your horns, and you may even want to put it through your wig first to get a good idea of how it's going to sit. So this is just attached with a hot glue gun on both sides. It's kind of some extra felt, so I'll go back through and try and glue it down a little bit better. So this is the finished I guess the horn sitting on the metal. I added some snaps that you can get just about anywhere, and just to give it a little extra stability. So there's the snaps. Oh, I added the felt too. I forgot to add that. I added felt on the bottom just to kind of hide that cream color, and there's the snaps underneath there. Make sure you put it on and adjust the horns to the placement that you want, and then just hot glue the snaps on. Also make sure that the snaps can fit through your wig too when you put it on for sizing. So this is the finished product with me wearing the horns. It was a lot of fun making them, and they turned out great.